I want to teach my horses a shoulder in or a counter shoulder in so I can help the horses become straighter and to develop their body in a more symmetrical way and to teach them how to access the postural muscles. So if I'm doing a shoulder in the beginning and then I do a counter shoulder in, I want to teach the counter shoulder in so that if the horse gets out of balance in the shoulder in, I can use the counter shoulder in to balance him again.
Yeah, and I like your approach and the respect that you're saying, there's some basic elements that we have to have here where the horse is really tuning into us and what we're asking them to do so that, let's talk about the halt one, for instance. You're halting in a way that the horse is available. Their whole body's available to you because you haven't compressed them. You haven't had to use physical pressure to create the halt. It's coming, from your feel and from the fact that they're responding to you as a whole. They understand what's expected of them. And I love that you're talking about that to the, in hand work as well. You're focused on get these foundation pieces and we're gradually building, which is a lovely message because, the foundation is really the platform that we can springboard off. And sometimes the foundation seems a little boring until you start playing with it. And then you go, oh, there's a lot of interacting and a lot of fun stuff going on here in this conversation between myself and my horse. And I think you bring a nice take on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I say, okay, this might seem like watching paint dry. Or, like if you think of yourself, like any more I think of my horsemanship journey in a more artful way. Like I think we all have to go through this time in the journey where we become very motivated by technique, like do it this way, sit this way, hand here, move here. And then once you start to kind of get a feel for the technique, you can kind of let that hard brain dissipate and you go into your feeling. So it kind of comes full circle. And so like where I went through that time in my life where I was very technique driven, I realized I was a slave to the technique and I was making the horses a slave to the technique as well. But once you start to move beyond that and it starts to become more artful, you start to compromise because you realize, oh, I don't have to drill this horse or it doesn't have to be my way, or like, let's just have this conversation. And it's just such a lovely thing. But in the beginning, yeah, it might look like watching paint dry, but any great piece of work on a canvas started with one stroke.
Yeah.
Right.